Hi, how are you, my younger brothers? I'm your elder brother, Kiran Roy. Today, I bring to you the topic how to handle your finances as a man in today's world. This is a very crucial topic which I thought I'll address because in the life of a man, in the life of just about anybody, I would say, finances form the most important aspect, which you guys are very well aware of. Without finances, you are nothing. Whatever you are is based on your finances. So I'll be addressing this point to the best of my capability. If you derive any benefit from it, do consider giving a super thanks. You can also book a 1:1 with me by DMing me in Instagram. And if you wish to give any direct benefit to me, you can drop a 5-star rating in my Google page, Kiran Roy's Guitar Studio. And you can definitely consider joining the Be Millionaire course, which is live in this very channel. This will bring your game to the next level, guarantee. So, to come back to the topic which we are addressing, always remember a man without finances is a man walking in a tightrope because it will never give you the stability that you always want. Because always remember, I always say, in fact, I always say because my father always said that money is oxygen. This was actually derived from my father. So he always said, because he was like, he's a very big industrialist, but he came up the hard way, as I told you. So he saw the bad times. He knows the importance of money. So he would always tell me since childhood that money is oxygen. And that same thought got ingrained in my mind that money is oxygen. So financial capability is very much important in a man's life. So today I will explain everything in detail, why financial planning, why financial strength is so important, and how you can take the complete reins in your own hands. In today's times, a man who doesn't protect his money loses his power in every aspect, in every way that you step out of your house. You will see hundreds of people just waiting there to fleece you of your hard earned money. It can be in the form of manipulation, it can be in the form of scams, it might be people asking for a loan. Wherever you go, people will always try to fleece your money. Wherever you go, it can be anywhere. Scams are just waiting to happen. And even if you don't go anywhere, you will get telephone calls trying to scan you, trying to rob you of your money. And a person who is not clever enough to protect his assets or protect his money, he is the most powerless person ever, I would say. Because as I said, a man who doesn't possess the financial capability to safeguard his money is a powerless man. He has no power. So basically, if you are completely aware how to protect your finances, you are definitely a powerful man. As simple as that. So my first point is the mindset shift. Always adopt the line protect first, provide later. You will see everywhere in India, it's like a very pathetic thing that people don't have money to eat, but they will be there trying to show off to others how rich they are. They will take loans to build a huge house only so that they can show off to their relatives, they can show off to the society how well to do we are. A family will not have money to buy one car, but they will take three cars in EMIs, in loans, so that they can show their neighbors that look, you have one car, I have three cars. You have two cars, I have three cars. They can show that I am superior to you. So everywhere it is embedded in the Indian culture that you have to show off. And that is the biggest bane of the Indian society. Because as I said, protect first, provide later. The first thing should be protecting your finances. If you don't protect your finances and if you are just providing that show off, if you're providing to others that you're just giving, providing that illusion to others that look how rich I am, then there is nobody who is a bigger fool than you. You are the biggest fool in the world. So I personally have never ever lived a life of splurging or showing to others how rich I am. Though I lived a wild rockstar life, I have been there, done that. I've lived my life as if there is no tomorrow. But even during such phase, I never indulged in blatant display of finances. I never showed that my father is so rich, I am so rich. I never did that. And my body language is testimony to that. I will never do that because right since a young age I have been earning money. I very well know what's the importance of money. I've been by the time I was 16 years I started teaching, and by 17 I had started my academy. So since a very young age, very tender age, I was aware of what money is. But these people in question who have not seen what money is, and suddenly suppose if they get money, they cannot digest it. They don't have that intelligence, emotional intelligence basically, to absorb money. So that is when you will see them indulging in the vulgar display of finances, which is completely wrong in my books. So first, try to protect your asset is what I would say. First, try to protect and invest your money in a very safe manner rather than indulging in displaying your financial. Remember, money is not currency, money is security. So stop spending emotionally to impress people who doesn't even care about you. I've seen in the Indian society, they do jobs, they do regular normal jobs. But when it comes to their wedding, they take a huge loan from the market, they take a huge loan from banks, 30 lakhs, 50 lakhs, 1 crore, just to be the king for one day. And they end up being a fool for a lifetime. How uncool that is. That you are working in a job, you are getting 40, 50,000 as salary. But at the day of your wedding, you take a huge loan only to live like a king for that one particular day, only to feed those people whom you don't even know, and only to live like a fool for the rest of your life. How? You need to pay that EMI, right? Who will come and pay your EMI? Your father? You will only have to pay that EMI. So, how uncool is that? That you take a loan of 1 crore just to impress your society and relatives for one day, and you spend the rest of your life grinding at your job to pay off the rest of your EMIs, to pay off the rest of your loan. Is there anything cool about it? You only tell me. Point is loud and clear. You are earning money, I have full respect for that earning. But when you are indulging and taking loans to impress your society, to impress your relatives, that is something I will never respect. I never go for marriages, I never go for weddings. I will never see a single picture of mine in any wedding because I think wedding or marriage is the biggest scam in the Indian society. The very example which I just told you, that people they are doing jobs. I wouldn't have minded had they if they had that much amount of money to splurge. Suppose if they have 100 crores, out of that if they are splurging like 20, 30 crores in their wedding, that still makes sense to me. But in all of these cases, not even majority, in all of these cases I've seen they are just doing normal 9 to 5 jobs. But since it's a part of their culture, it's a part of their family heritage that they have to feed like hundreds of people. They have to like spend like lakhs in the decoration so that they can get good wedding pictures out of it. It is just a vulgar display or a blatant display of money and power which they don't even own, because that is a loan, and loan money is not your money, that's debt. That is not richness, that is a pure form of debt. So I completely don't endorse this. So what I mean to say by this point is, don't spend your money emotionally. Always remember, money is your biggest security. Spend it only when required. Don't ever spend it just out of emotions, just out of the virtue of impressing others. Because if somebody is getting impressed also, how will that aid you in your life? Okay, you bought a car paying a huge EMI. See, my point is not for those people who have that much money. Suppose if a person is worth 200 crores. And if he buys a car worth rupees 1 CR also, it's fine. He has that money. He's not getting into a debt. But I'm addressing the majority of the population that they don't have that much money, because how much percentage of people are in that 100 200 crore bracket? You only tell me 1%. I did not check out the statistics. In fact, you guys only let me know about the statistics. You only tell me in entire India, how many of the people are there who is above that 100 cr bracket? How many people you know? My father is one of them. I know my father, he's there, one amongst them. But how many people are there? Apart from my father, I don't know anybody in my circle. I'm not talking about Ambani and those people who are well known, but from the people who are not well known, like my father is not well known, but I know he belongs to that bracket. His net worth is way more than that 100 cr mark. So how many people you know? Very less. So it's no rocket science, dude, that the majority of the people fall below that bracket. And when they are below that bracket, it's a no brainer that they have to take big loans to show off to their society. So when they are taking a huge loan just so that they can show off, they're taking a huge loan to renovate their house, to make their house bigger. When they're taking a loan that completely defeats that purpose, because that is not richness, that is debt. And any debt is cancer. Always remember this. Now I'm coming to my next segment, which is red flags in relationships. Because relationships forms the biggest avenue where a person loses their money. Biggest place actually, because I'm counseling people since the past 20 years. I've seen its relationships more than even the scamsters, which have sucked out their money. So always watch out for the red flags in the relationships. First red flag, always watch out for a woman who has no ambition and who only demands from you. Suppose if a girl is working day in and day out, she is earning a decent amount. Firstly, a girl who is earning a good amount, they will never depend on you for their money. They will not beg in front of you. Firstly, suppose a girl who has self-respect and who is earning, they are themselves self-sufficient. They don't require your money. But in majority of the cases, you will be seeing women who have no ambition, who have no qualification, who are not working, who are not interested in working, but still they have high demands from you. How many of you have met such people? How many of you have met such girls or women for that matter? Many, right? I have personally met so many. So from that only I can easily say, I can easily assume that each one of you must be aware of such kind of ladies. So the idea is stay away from them, because they are the ones who will leach out the last drop of blood from you. And in this case, the blood is not blood, it is money. So always stay away from women who are ambitionless but who have high demands. They are the perfect specimen who will suck out the last ounce of money from your life. Next are the women who ask for financial favors early on. Again, how many of you have dated women? Just after a couple of dates, she will say that my sister's fees has to be paid. My credit card bills has to be paid. The credit card recovery guys are calling me constantly. They will not say that can you give me. They will share their problem with you. And the biggest problem with the simps of India is they succumb. They offer to help her out under the hope that she will say yes to him. She will come in a relationship, in or at least she will get laid with him. So these guys are the biggest fools. Don't be like that guy. Be alert. That's why I'm making you alert by my point. So this point is a very crucial point. Stay away from women who ask for favors early on in the relationship. See, once you are married, once you know a girl, once you are in a relationship with a girl for like a long time, it's fine to help her out in on one, two, or it's fine to bail her out sometimes. Like it's I'm not asking you to completely be stone hearted, but sometimes if the case is genuine and it's a one-off case, you can consider bailing her out or helping her out financially. But in majority of the cases in Mumbai city, Delhi, Bangalore, I see girls, because I've dated girls from all over the, not just the country, but from all over the world. And one common factor which I've seen is they will ask for financial benefits early on. And once you get that, that's a red flag. Stay away from that girl because that girl will leech out the money out of you. So my bottom line is set financial boundaries. If she cannot respect your hustle, she should have no access to your wallet. And remember, a woman who respects your hustle will respect your money because she knows how hard you have to work, how hard you have to hustle to make this money. So she will never waste your money and will never take it for granted. She will always keep that money safe. She will also want to safeguard that. But such kind of women are rare. My mom was that, your mom was that. I'm very well aware that it was our mothers who were like that. But in this generation, if you stumble upon such kind of a girl, you are lucky. But I personally have never seen, and I don't think even you will find that. My next point is never mix finances early on in a relationship. One of the biggest mistake which majority of the Indian men do is, since they don't have anything else to attract a girl, they just try to attract them by their money. And that is completely the opposite of what I am saying. I always say leave out financial implications, leave out finances from a relationship, at least for the initial part of your relationship. And until there is some sort of commitment or some sort of understanding between both of you. But majority of the Indian men, they just try to buy their affection by displaying their money or by providing them with that money, and that's the biggest blunder they are committing. So my advice to you is leave out finances for the initial part of your relationship, because no woman who is genuine will ask for monetary favors from you early on. At least once she's your wife, I can still understand, but early on she has no business asking for money from you. And if she is doing, she will continue doing that, and she will always put you in a financial mess. And that is exactly what my topic for today is: how to maintain your finances. Next segment is discipline and independence. So basically, discipline is your only ticket from losing your money. How? When it comes to discipline, people who are not disciplined, they spend money in alcohol, they spend money in smoking, they spend money in eating out, they spend money in gambling. Yes. Now these days you see Dream 11, this, that. What is that? Those are gambling apps. Those are gambling. People go to the casinos in Goa. That's gambling. So weak people who are not disciplined, they splurge their money on these things. And that is what I call as financial cancer. People who indulge in spending their money on alcohol, on overspending, on unnecessary things just to impress others, they are all the perfect candidate of indulging in financial cancer. You must never be that person. As you guys must be knowing, I have quit drinking. I have quit smoking 8 years ago, and I was a 40 cigarettes a day. I mean, I used to smoke 40 cigarettes per day. That to a very expensive brand. So you can imagine how much money I used to spend in just smoking. Cigarettes are overpriced throughout the globe, not just in India. It's overpriced due to the high taxation. So, and 4 years before, I've permanently quit drinking, and I've permanently quit. I used to play. I used to indulge in each of these things. So that's why I'm in a very good position to tell you, because I know the pros and cons on both the aspects of life. I'm a person who has been there, done that. I was a casino champ as well. Owing to my psychology skills, I could easily make out when I was a poker champion basically. So just by my knowledge of psychology, just by looking at their expressions, I could make out what cards they have. And I would play my cards accordingly, and I made lots of money by doing that. And it was that time I realized that when I have that much skills in even winning casino tournaments, even winning poker tournaments, why don't I just fully concentrate on the benefit of people? And after that, it's been only that playing I've stopped playing poker permanently. I've stopped gambling 120%. Like, I've completely eliminated it, along with smoking, junk food, eating out. then alcohol, everything I've stopped. So just by doing that, you will get a heart attack if I talk about the money which I have saved so far in the past 4 years. I used to spend on an average of 4,000 rupees. Sometimes it would be more, sometimes less, but an average was 4,000 rupees. I used to spend that much amount only in alcohol, only in drinking, alcohol and food, of course, because I used to drink every night in the most expensive pub of the area where I personally live. So there, an average dish would cost around 12, because I used to eat crab. I used to eat the expensive seafood. Basically, I loved. I'm a Bengali, so I used to love seafood, crab, lobster, prawns. So all of these were quite expensive. I used to love having those food along with my drinks. So on an average, 4,000 every day. And I'm not talking about the other aspects. I'm only talking about drinks and food. That was my cost. So in the past 4 years, you can do the calculation yourself and you can see what a huge fortune I've saved. Huge fortune. And just now forget the alcohol. I used to eat out that time in restaurants, in fancy restaurants and normal restaurants also. But eating out is also an expensive proposition. You guys are very well aware of. So I did not go to any restaurant. Though I've taken my kids out, I won't say that entirely I have not gone. My kids, of course, they are not dieting, so it is their time to eat good food in good places. So I take my kids. I personally don't eat because I'm in a strict carnivore diet. I cannot have a single gram of carbohydrate. It's purely carnivore. So even in the restaurant, even if I order something non-veg, but it will have so many masalas because I eat like bland food. I eat my food with just a slight bit of seasoning. That's it. No rich spices, no masalas, nothing. So in restaurant, who will give me that kind of food? Nobody will give me. So I don't eat. And in restaurant, even if they give, they will put the seasonings, they'll put Ajinomoto, they will put all the extra salt because I eat with very less salt. So I've completely abolished eating out. So in the fast, and even if you go to eat in a good restaurant, at least 3-4 thousand will be the bill, right? So you can just imagine the amount of money I have saved by just eliminating eating out. No Swiggy, no Zomato. So as I said, for my kids, I do order, but not for me. So by the virtue of this, what can you understand? Just by eliminating just by eliminating these financial cancers, I have saved such a huge fortune. So that is exactly which you must strive to do. I agree that it's not possible for everybody to live my life. It's impossible for a person not to eat out. I can agree. But you can definitely control eating out, and you must definitely, I wouldn't say control, I would definitely say eliminate alcohol, eliminate smoking. And drugs doesn't even come in the picture because that's the worst thing a person can do. But drugs are not sold legally, so I'm not counting drugs. But alcohol is sold even at like family restaurants. Even if you go to family restaurant, you will see alcohol being served. But stay away from alcohol. Because alcohol is the purest form of financial cancer. And not just financial cancer, it's a health cancer also. Even one small drink can increase your cancer chances. Are you aware of that? If you're not aware, you can just Google it and you can just put it in Chat GPT. Even Chat GPT will tell you that even one small drink is enough to cause cancer because there is no safe limit when it comes to alcohol. So don't ever drink, don't ever smoke. Even if you have not tried it, never even try it at the first place because that will leach out the money out of you. Remember that. Next point is build multiple income streams. Freelance, invest, teach. Majority of the people, wherever you see, you will see they are dependent only on one job, nothing else, only one job. And majority are job people only in India. They will only have one source of income. That's like committing the biggest blunder of your life. Because throughout my career, I personally never depended on only one particular income source. Even when it comes to teaching, I have so many branches. Suppose when I started teaching out, I that was my income source, right? I am teaching guitars. But after that, I introduced home tuitions in which my teachers used to go to others' homes. I introduced online classes. I have separate team who teaches people throughout the world online. Then there are offline classes. There are teachers who are teaching offline in my branches. I have 23 branches. Then direct lessons with Kiran Roy, people who are directly coming and paying a premium to learn directly from me. Then we are selling guitars. From where? From my own factory. I'm manufacturing my own guitars. I am personally selling it. That's one income stream. I am providing those guitars to other shops. That's another income stream. So, and this is just the beginning. I have many more income sources. So you can just imagine how many income sources I have kept. So never ever put all the eggs in just one basket. Always have multiple income sources. Never depend on only one job. So you will say, sir, I have a job. What should I do? You can invest. That is one income source. Rather than spending that money, invest in a proper place. Second, you can teach. I'm myself a teacher. I teach guitars. What do you think I'm doing with Guitar Hall? I'm teaching. I'm teaching guitars. I teach. Then I counsel people, though that income I personally don't take, but still the income is coming. I'm paying, I'm giving it to the orphan kids. That's my personal choice. But at least I'm making one income, right? If had I chosen not to given it to the orphan kids, I would have myself received that. So that's an income source. I'm counseling people. I'm teaching people. I'm a life navigator. I'm teaching people. In fact, that's what I'm doing right now in this video as well. I'm teaching you people. So definitely my channel is monetized. I'll be getting money. Though as I said, though the money will go to the orphan kids. That's not mine. But that's a personal choice, right? Had I not had that choice, that money would have come to me only, right? So what I mean by that is this is also an income source. So you can see I have so many income sources. In fact, whatever I do for me, every moment, every minute is money for me. Because whatever I do, I'm making money out of it. Even if I'm talking right now with you, I'm making money. If I'm sitting in my academy and teaching guitars, I'm making money. Even if I'm not doing anything, I'm making money. You will say, how? Even if I'm lying in my bed, my factory is going on. My guitar sales are going on. My other aspects are going on. So I'm minting money even if I'm lying down in the bed. So that is how you should be making money from multiple sources, is what I mean. So you can freelance, you can invest, you can build something, but always monetize whatever skills you have and try to maintain multiple sources of income. That is how you can be financially sound. So my bottom line is never ever depend on just one job, because if you lose that job, you will be screwed. Don't be that person, because majority of the population work like that only, and you guys are very well aware of that. Now my next point is budget like a soldier. Every rupee must have a purpose. So what happens? The common mistake which I've seen in every household is there is nothing called as a budget, wherein I say budget like a soldier. Every rupee must have a purpose, like how soldiers have purpose. Every rupee should have a mission. Every rupee should be used only when it is required. Though I have lots of money, I have been teaching the importance of budgeting to my kids. My father is a multimillionaire. He had taught me early on because he had earned it the hard way, right? As I told you, he did not take a single rupee from his rich father. He came to Mumbai from West Bengal. He was from a small village in West Bengal, but they were rich zamindars, his father and forefathers. But he was not happy with that life. He wanted a hustle, which he can call his own, which he wanted to build of his own, which he did. So he knows the importance of money because he had lived in extreme poverty in the initial part of his stay in Mumbai when he had come here. So same thing he passed it on to me, because I was living like a bad boy, like a spoiled rich man's son, but he had kicked me out of the house. He took away my car, he took away all the money, he took away my mobile phone, and he left me to grind, so that I understand and I realize the importance of money. So that is the reason why I, from a very tender age, I had realized the importance of money. So I am the person who spends or who budgets like a soldier. Because as I said, every rupee should have a purpose. You shouldn't splurge even a single rupee where it is not required, is what I mean by saying. So always remember, every rupee should have a purpose and it should be spent wisely. Even if you give it to a beggar, that is also, it has a purpose, right? You are helping somebody. So always ensure that every rupee has a purpose. Don't just because you see that the price is less, don't just buy it thinking that hey, it's just for 100 bucks. I don't need it, but 100 bucks, man. What how does it care? But these small 100 bucks can make a huge amount. Always remember that. So I'm 100 is still a huge amount. I would say even think of spending 1 rupee. as small as 1 rupee. Remember, before you spend, and always learn to say no without a guilt. Biggest problem of Indians is they don't have the courage to say no. Suppose if they don't have the financial capacity to go for a vacation, but still they will take a loan and they will go for a vacation, because vacation is not a necessity. You can easily pull off going for that vacation for a few years until you reach a good level. But Indians don't do that. They will take a huge loan, they will pay the interest, and they will go for that vacation, which is not needed. Vacation is required. Definitely, it is. I'm myself a traveler, but I never traveled putting myself in a financial jeopardy. I always traveled when I had surplus funds. So learn to say no without a guilt. And always remember, save before you spend. Spend only if you have that saving. Never ever spend if you don't have that money to begin with. Remember that. So my closing line is, be a man who protects his empire rather than building a palace to keep somebody else in it or to impress somebody else. Remember my closing line. I'll stop here for today. I'll see you tomorrow. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.